afternoon, whatsoever time you're watching this today or anytime. So I am your host today, Adejoke Ogundipe, and with me I have our best front end engineer. His name is Abdulrasaq. Yeah, Mustapha.
Abdulrasaq Mustapha.
Yeah, Mustapha. So yeah, and of how I went to your LinkedIn and I saw a lot of beautiful things. I know I was like, one person, all of these titles, how? So
Yeah.
I'm very sure if you guys know Mustafa, you know that when you talk about products, call his name. When you talk about front end, call his name. Then I even realized that you're also a co-host, and I was like, okay, hope you won't be
Yeah.
here to take my shine today, but then yeah, there's
Yeah.
enough shine
Yeah.
for both of us. Okay, so yeah, and apart from all this, I would like to know who Mustafa is, and I'm very sure our listener today too, like ready to know who you are. Then you know there is always a saying that you get to know they. I would say you'll be the right person to like blow the trumpets. Let me just say it
Yeah,
that way. So yeah.
definitely, definitely,
So can we know
definitely.
you? Can we meet you? Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. First, thank you so much. Thanks for
You're
the
welcome.
team behind. Thanks to the team behind this. Thanks for finding me worthy of
Thank you
being
for honoring our call.
a guest. And I know this happened offline, but apologies. This should have happened some weeks earlier, but my schedule was a bit tight. So thank you for still deeming me more worthy that we could have this happen again. Yeah, my name is Abdulrasaq Mustapha. Mostly known in the tech space as Geek Maros, and I don't want to be left out. I think every young techies now have a tech name. They're like, nah, let me just have one, and so Geek Maros is what I came up with, and nothing far fetched. It's just the initials of my name. Geek is
Oh,
someone who's a nerd, or you know what a geek is. Maros is just the initials, Mustafa Abdulrazak Olainka Shola. So that is how I came up with the initials
that's
of my
beautiful.
name.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
so yeah, I'm a front end engineer, I'm a product person. I've been in the industry for about 5 years. And these 5 years I've helped businesses scale from Freda in the UK to Linkfire to Papershift in Germany to Copenhagen, and yeah, I'm grateful for the kind of experience I've had over the years. I've been able to do this all in the comfort of my home here in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, basically. Um, aside software, I do lots of content. Yeah, I hope not lots do content, but hopefully I get more consistent on it. Couple of YouTube tutorials on YouTube, focused on Vue.js, careers and whatnot. Also, like you saw, I'm a co-host at Superbase. In fact, I had to host a panelist session today at an event this morning already. So, so, and I think it's a great thing that you have lots of things you could do under your belt and being able to express them. So whether you want me to come in from a technical point of view, whether you want me to come from a media point of view, whether I want to come from a community management point of view, there's always something to offer. Yeah, aside that, I'm a mentor to a lot of others. I'm also a mentee to some seniors in the game, right? Yeah, because when you think you know where your own knowledge stops, someone else starts from there, basically. Yeah, I think that's basically much about me. And when I'm not coding, you find me, I think, attending tech events, lots of tech events, either invited as a speaker. Yeah, and basically I work with technologies such as a front-end engineer. Basically, you work with JavaScript, React, Next, Vue, and the likes. When it comes to styling, the same thing we use in the industry, Tailwind, SaaS, well, I'm grateful. The so far the experience has been great, and there is still much more we can build upon, and that's what Geek Maros is basically on the shot.
Wow. That's really, really great. Thank you so much.
Most
Like,
welcome.
I couldn't actually give a broad like overview of everything you do. But I like the fact
Yeah,
that you actually have things you do for fun. Do you get? And it's not just about sitting at the front of the computer. But yeah, that's
yeah,
really
yeah,
really nice. And thank you so much for making
yeah.
like this. Then I believe that it's going to be a great one. So
Yeah,
yeah,
looking forward to
and
it.
okay. So today, topic, and that as everyone already know, we'll be talking about code, like basically tech with hero. Is community whereby we will bring you gist about coding, how
Yeah,
to write clean code, what's different about fast code and clean code. So now has techies. So I would like us to go straight to some of the questions I've already penned down. We
yeah.
have like so that we won't spend the whole day, because the way I'm looking at Mustapha is ready to like download a lot of things for us. But
Yeah,
then
I hope there's a timer. I'm a talker, so I hope there's a timer. So
yeah, well, but then we still have to stick with our time. So
yeah,
we'll be going
definitely.
straight to what we have to do today, or the gist we have for you today. So yeah, so can you help us like differentiate between good code and fast code? Like a lot of people just basically as developer, or especially like beginners. Let me start from beginners level. Like they
Yeah,
just got into coding, and all they just want to do is build something. So
yeah,
apart
yeah,
from just building, there are some things that is meant to be like, what's it called, like principles that are meant
yeah,
to be
definitely.
followed. So
Yeah,
now that brings me to the question of fast code and what's it called? And
good.
yeah, good code. Thank you for that. So what's the difference? How do people get to know what is fast
Okay.
and what is good? Thank you.
I think first we need to look at the name. Let's first take the literal meaning. When we say something is good, physically it's okay, and when we say something is fast, it's something that's done in a very speedy manner. And so when we talk about good code and fast code, let's start with the good code. So good code is more or less like you're building a house. It's you start with the foundation. You want to ensure that the foundation is very very solid, right? You want to ensure that the right measurement, the right quotation is given to the right cement, is given the right water, is given the right sand. So it's similar to how, because basically coding is like you're building something, you're building a structure. So a good code basically is a clear self-documented code. It's well maintainable. It's also has the ability to be extensible, meaning that it could grow, right? When we talk about good code, it also has to do with codes that are well tested, has a good test coverage. It follows a particular design pattern. There are lots of design patterns we use in building applications in today's world. And most importantly, there's separation of concern. And these are part of the things I think are the characteristics of a good code. Now, when we talk about fast code could be code that is written quickly. And that is one version. It could also mean a code that runs very fast. So we then need to pick which version of fast code are we going to be working with here. But from the topic, I'm sure we're possibly going to be looking at it from the angle of codes that are written quickly, either to ensure that we ship fast or to ensure that we just need to get a product out in the market for the users to get going.
Yeah.
So that is how I think I would differentiate the two of them. So good code with the characteristics I mentioned earlier, and fast code are just codes that are written fastly, quickly to ensure that we get straight into the market, or to ensure that
Okay.
we get the products to production or ship to production, basically.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so thank you so much. So I'm very
Yeah,
sure
you're
our
welcome.
listeners, if you have to sit down and check what you've been writing, have you been writing good code, or you've been writing like Swift code? You just have to check
Yeah, it has
yourself.
to be syntactic. It has to be fluid,
Yeah, you just have
definitely.
to, because you just need to make sure you're writing not just fast code, but a code that is reusable. Just like how our guests have already lectured us on the difference between good code and fast code. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, no waiting too much on that. Let's move to the
No.
next question. So yeah, how do you prioritize delivering fast code for tight deadlines. So right now
Mm.
we have like let me say we want to build, okay, this cup, for instance. Then our production date is next month.
Yeah.
So then what's our product manager saying, I don't know how you guys want to do it, developers. I need my products on production
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. How do we do that? Like how?
Great.
Because at that
Um,
point there are a lot of things in the bush,
the
not
pressure
like
is going to be
principle
much.
any longer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do we
Yeah.
come to do that?
Great question. Good question. I think at this point we need to look at it from three things or three angles. It could be more, but I might just want to bring it down to three angles. The first one is risk-based assessments. And when we talk about risk-based assessments, let me just name it three of them. Risk-based assessments. We have strategic technical depth, while trying to deliver fast. And three is the non-negotiable standards. So these are the three things we're going to look at. So let's start with the first one, risk-based assessment. Then we need to actually first evaluate what we want to build. Like, okay, yes, we want to, our PM or PO has come to us saying this feature has to be out by in the closest date. We need to critically evaluate this feature. How do we get it done? What's the impact it's going to have on the existing code base? We also need to consider the lifespan of this code. Is this because there's some code you just want to write to keep the users, maybe they'll complain of a particular feature, you just want to keep them happy till we build the right solution itself, something like it's in place for them to just make the noise from the stakeholders come down, or from the C level come down. So this is we're also then to assess the impact of that particular feature on other components. Once we've done that, we then now go to the technical depth. We have to document the known compromises. What are the things we want to compromise because we want to ship fast? We agree that we're going to ship fast, yes, because we have a deadline. But what are the things we are going to lose in trying to ship fast? We need to document it down. And this is how you prioritize. Next is we need to create tickets for these priorities we've actually done, either for the new feature we're working or for the post launch of the feature. Because once the feature is done, that is when the real work now starts. Because we then need to clean up to make our fast code turn into a good code,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
then the next thing would now be non-negotiables. This is like we I'm sorry, no matter how you want to push us to do a fast code, there are certain things we still need to put in place. We still need to ensure that the current core architecture of our product is we don't go against it, right? We need to ensure that test coverage still matches what we want, or it doesn't go below our current threshold. So once we take the risk assessment, the technical depth, and the things where we agree are non-negotiable. I'm sorry, no matter how we want to write fast, you have to give room for us to have proper testing. When
Wow.
it breaks, we are the one who's going to hold the blame, right? So, so we need to ensure that these non-negotiables are put in place, and with that, we can prioritize fast code, ensuring that we deliver, and we then have a good plan for pre and post. Pre, which is working on the fast code, and post, which is clean up the fast code to make it a good code, basically.
Oh, wow, 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 wow. That is really, really nice, in depth. Guys, are you with your pen? Are you with your books? Because my head is, as I don't know, my head is so full right now. I'm really, really learning a lot. So thank you so much, Mustapha, for
You're
breaking
welcome.
that into beautiful points, seriously. And you really, really like killed the explanation. Then I'm very sure like our listeners today are really, really learning a lot. So yeah, you made mention we have to like test the code. So
Yeah.
does it, testing the code makes it a good code, or actually a code, or does it make it like testing less faster or something? Because some people, I think, like for instance now, most products manager, the best, some might not focus on like testing. Some would be like, oh yeah, our users will test it, once it break we will fix it, in production we will match it and everything. Just let's push it and let's
Yeah.
be. So what do you think testing is important when
Yeah.
coding?
I think I speak for on behalf of every junior developer. We never like testing,
Okay.
but as you begin to climb the ladder as a junior
Yeah.
developer back then, I never like the task I try to run away from were tasks that has to do with testing. But when I began to grow into the industry, I
Mm,
realized how important testing is. Whether
mm,
it's A to B testing, unit testing, end to end testing, these are very very important to ensure that we ship the right product out there. And that is why every same company will definitely have a QA on the team.
okay.
There will definitely have a QA on the team. Whether you're writing a fast code or a good code, it still needs to be tested. And this test is just an extra layer of proof. Call it a two-factor authentication for whatever we are building to ensure
Yes.
that okay, yes, it might break, but at least there are still some things in check. And even if it doesn't break, we can be more confident that oh, this the why it didn't break was because we run through all test cases, all cases to ensure that we ship the right product. So testing is very important. It's I tell engineers that work with me, it's that task that you don't like, but you have to do it.
Mm.
You don't like that task, but you just have to do it. And to ensure that we have a future proof product, testing is very important.
Hmm. Thank you so much. So, junior, beginners, senior devs, please learn
Yes, you
how
have
to
to.
test. You just need
You
to know
have to.
testing. So no matter how the product manager or the project manager is on your neck to say, let's push this, just make them know that this testing is a do or die thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to hear story where like they go back and say, oh, you didn't do this correctly. Because one thing I've realized is that the fault is always on the developers. So
Yeah,
no
it
matter
is.
what it is, if you break on production, you carry it. So
Well,
please,
I
I
think in a well structured company,
yeah.
I'm going to fight for the developers here. The problem is on the product managers or the product owners because
Yes.
they are now like the people having that ownership has to show from their own end. So
Mm,
it's that frustration they push on us as engineers, like, hey, the C level are asking for this.
yeah.
Where is this feature, right? So yeah, it's much understandable.
Okay. Thank you so much. So yeah. Can you please help us share a real life example where choosing fast code is or leads to a major issue? Like now, what I'm trying to ask is maybe a real life scenario when you were still like way junior. Right now, I know you're senior engineer. Yeah, 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 yeah. But let's
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
roll back to when you just started. Everybody has
yeah,
their humble beginning, whereby
yeah.
like you were being shouted on that. Oh, this is your code looks like. What? Wait a minute. So yeah, I would like to yeah that experience. Please share
Crazy.
with us.
It's not even too far fetched.
Oh, it's not
It's not
really.
too far fetched. I remember one of the few companies I worked with recently, where we actually had a particular feature where we needed to. I think it's for some weird reason it broke. We were trying to do a migration.
Oh
So
yeah.
DGS had we wanted to migrate from Vue 2.7 to Vue 3, and which it was a big it was actually a big task itself. And you know, they see engineers as superheroes without the cape. Like
Yeah.
they will get it done. Don't worry. Just give them the specifics. Give them the so we've had situations where we needed to ensure that users users don't have to care about how difficult the migration is. Theirs is it has to work. So we need to ensure that we ship fast to ensure that the core part of our product has moved to the latest version while we were iteratively just moving other bits bit by bit. And I can tell you that it didn't end well. It didn't end. It didn't end well
Wow.
because we were honestly and I think that's the power of communication, and that's why when you things like moving a product from a let's say from one version to another. Example, you're moving from React to Next, or you're moving a product from Vue to Nox, or you're moving a product from a Vue 2.7 to Vue 2.3. It's important that you communicate these things ahead of for the stakeholders. Like, okay, yes, this is what we want to do. This is what we want to work on. It can break. It's
Hmm.
this is it's like we're starting afresh. right? It can break. So it's important we document these things, letting them know, okay, these are the possible challenges we might find. And this is how we can actually reduce the risk. So what we basically did was just ensure that we reduced the risk. We knew that at that point where we had, because we knew something could break. So we also had mindset that, okay, guys, let's put in place that we might work over the time, because
Okay.
as we launch, something might break. So let's just
Of
keep our
course.
hands on deck. Let's just
Yeah.
keep our hands on. And it's again, this just happens once in maybe 2 or 6 months, because
Okay.
definitely one of the beautiful things, companies with the best culture, you don't work over time. But sometimes it's needed. There are times whereby you would have to do that to ensure that our customers, importantly, have the best experience. So in that part, we just needed to ship iteratively, ensuring that the core part of the product is there, and from little components, moving each component iteratively, and we're able to get it done. We got it done. Did we meet the deadline? No, but we got it done, and we were still able to communicate. The most important thing is communication. Honestly, once the stakeholders get to understand that, okay, yes, this thing is going to take XYZ amount of time.
Mm.
Don't forget, the stakeholders are not really technical. The C level are not really
Yeah.
technical. So it's now for us to communicate back to them. Oh yes, this thing that you think you want us to do, it's possible, it's doable. We can move this, but we also need a little more time. If you can't give us that time, these are the repercussions that could come up at the end of the day, and we'll communicate it ahead. Okay, when it comes up, this is the solution in place to ensure that we still have a future-proof product.
Wow. Really, really nice. I like the fact that you made mention that communication in everything, you just have to communicate. Yeah, which
Yeah,
is really
definitely,
nice. So
definitely.
yeah, thank you so much, Mustapha. So I want to tell our followers and our listeners today, please tune in your questions. I'm very sure Mustapha is here to answer all your questions. Hello, just turn it in. Make sure you're writing it, and so that we can pick it up and answer all your questions today. So yeah, and apart from good code and fast code, when do you, as let's say a senior developer or a junior or a starter, any like
Yeah.
level of development the person is, when do the person know that, oh yeah, I'm already writing a good code? Like how to know that, oh yeah, I've moved from fast code to a good code? When do the person realize that, oh yeah, this code now I can say it is good? When do
Mm.
you, like, when would the person know that?
Great question. Great question. One of the things that every engineer, whether front end or back end, is optimization.
Okay.
Whatever code you write, the first thing before you apply whatever new thing you learn, because engineers, the one thing with us is when we learn a shiny new thing, we want to like implement it and like see how it goes. But
Yeah.
again, it has to be, it might be clean, but how optimized it is. So the keyword there is how optimized your code is. Your
Mm.
code might be large, right? And the optimization is little. It might be small, and the optimization, it might cause some optimization depth. So one of the key things actually is a well optimized code. Secondly, again, but going back to what we mentioned, the code quality, and that is
Okay.
why there are tools such as Sonar Cloud to ensure that it reads the code quality. We hope we don't have a smelly code. For those of us who work with Sonar Cloud, we know what this terminology I'm using. And another thing is how to know is every same code should go through checks, either pipeline checks or go through code review,
Okay.
right? So this is another, let's call it a two-factor authentication to what kind of code you've written. So if it should go through all these processes, believe me, and it's been able to, and that feature is being able to get merged. I think it's good enough to say that you've written a good code. Else, someone else would have spotted it. If it's not spotted manually by human, it will be spotted um, 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 uh, by one of the linters or one of the checks we've put in place, either in during deployments to check for smelly code, check for repeated codes, um, um, or check for optimization, because one of the key things also is we try to do a check and balance. Oh, the new build of what we have, what's the difference in the build size from the previous release we did. So that will help us know that, oh, we're not loading the users, we're not, if it's an Android app or if it's a web app, we're not making the users spend much more data in trying to access what we have, basically. So if you should go through all this process, at least you will be able to know that yes, you're actually writing a good code.
Mm. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh,
So you made mention of some standards or some
yeah.
principles. Can you help us like highlight some principles or standards whereby like yeah developers need to achieve? Yeah, I know you've mentioned some, but is there like a step to follow, or you can just jump from level one and you meet yourself in fast code or good code writer or something?
Okay. So I think we can break it down into like three, maybe
Okay.
2 or 3 steps. First one would be let's say technical practices. We take it into process practices, and we take it into management practices. So when we talk about technical practices, basically, this is you ensuring your code is good from a technical point of view, which is ensuring that yes, you have it, your code is well written, has a good test coverage. Your code has gone through the regular code reviews among your, it could be your tech lead who's in the code review, your team lead, and your code has actually gone through the architectural decision record, basically. So whatever whatever feature the ticket you're working on, it meets the condition. That is one. From the process point of view, it has to do with the refactoring at regular sprints, because sometimes you might have written a code before, a new feature comes on that you didn't have to modify a code you've written before, right? So regular refactoring during sprints. Then there's also something we call the Boy Scout rule as a software engineer, which is leave the code better than you found it.
Hmm.
So it's called the Boy Scout rule: leave the code better than you found it. So
Wow.
I tell people that, so when I have to my friends who tell me like, oh, my onboarding session was great. I like when I went into documentation of the company, it was good. That happened because the person who left there did a great job for you. So it's the onus is on you is on you to ensure that you actually leave also a better legacy code for the next person who's coming to inherit that code to be able to work with it. And also documentation.
Hmm.
Documentation, oh my goodness, it is very important. This is one of the things that makes developer experience good in every company, right? So part of ensuring good code is documentation. Part of documentation could be as little as writing the right comments, as little as, okay, the reason why we did this, the reason why I used a for loop instead of a for each, for example, or this feature we did here, we did it at this level. There's something we call a to do comment. You actually put a to do comment on your code, letting the other engineers know that, oh, this thing, it's we were able to somehow get it working, but it's not the best practices, but at least it's working. So the to do is gonna give the next engineer who might work on it, give them an idea of, oh, this is what this person has done, this is the level they've gone, and they can pick up from that context to finish up. Then from a managerial practices to ensure you write a good code is, we need to have a clear definition of what is done.
Okay.
What is, yeah, I'm done writing this code. We have to decide what's the definition of done itself. That's how we know what a good code is. We then need to do regular developer, there's something we call in my companies engineering weekly, where the front end guys we collaborate. We have front end weekly, we have engineering weekly. So for front end weekly is the front end guys come, we analyze, oh, who is having what issues with which code base, and we all try to. So these are part of ways where you can ensure that at the end of the day, you are either writing good code or you are also helping others achieve good code.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mustapha. That's a lot, and I really, really enjoyed your explanation. I'm
Thank
very
you.
sure our, our listeners today also like I've learned a lot. And so yeah, taking a short break, let's go to the I think I have one question here from, so the question is, can you explain briefly what technical depth meant? So can you help us explain? So our listener would like to know what technical depth is. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, great question. So when we talk about technical depth, these are the things that you've sacrificed to ensure that you you get the product out. For example,
Mm,
when we build a feature, we used to write tests.
mm,
So because writing tests would make us spend an extra 1 hour or 2 hours, and users are out there already. The customer success team are already complaining. Hey, they are complaining about this thing. So like, oh, okay, let's keep testing for now. We've built it. Let's just push this to prod. Now that's a technical depth. It means that you've missed out one important part, right? In in your product feature. So that itself is something we can also refer to as technical depth. So at that point, you don't have to come back to ensure that, oh, the testing for this feature has to be added back to ensure that it meets it meets all the conditions for what we call, like I said, what we mentioned is done. So technical depth are the things we sacrifice to ensure that we launch or we push the product further. I think that's like the easiest way to put it.
all right, thank you so much. Thank you for that. So guys, now you know the meaning of technical depths. If you are owing anything called technical, so please. So that's, I'm just reminding you. So thank you so much, Mustapha. And okay, so there are still more questions I have for you. And
Sure.
please, guys, if you still have more questions to ask our guests today, we are waiting for you. We can't wait. I'm very sure I say we can't. No, it's not as if I'm the one answering the question. No. I'm very sure Mustafa can't wait to answer all of your questions today. Please keep it flowing, keep it coming, keep it loading, and we're here to answer. We're here for you, basically. So if there's anything in your mind you're not clear about, like, oh, how do I even start to coach? Please, I'm very sure Mustafa has all the answers. Like, this is our Google today, our ChatGPT. So he's here to load us with a lot of answers. So yeah, and so I would like to ask that, what advice would you give to teams that feel constant pressure to deliver fast, but want to prioritize good code or clean code?
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, like I mentioned earlier, we under. I think for again, this is more or less. Oh, I'm sorry, developers. I might be opening some secrets here because I'm sorry. And again, it's relatable, and I think that's the beautiful thing about having a career that makes you like you're able to see all faces, starting from like an absolute beginner to a junior to a mid level. So you sometimes you're able to think like a junior, right?
Mm,
So sometimes when I'm working with some southern engineers who are maybe just new into the industry, it's expected when they have some communication gap. I try not to be hard on them because I feel like okay, yeah, at this point you're still a bit I don't want to look like I'm asking the wrong question. I don't
okay.
want to look like, so this is expected. So, but unfortunately, communication is something we can't shy away from. We need to build trust through communication. We need to educate the stakeholders regarding this technical depths that, oh yes, while we're under pressure, this is the cost at the cost of we doing this at this part. We also need to show them the return of investment on the quality of what we've built, right? So if we're going through the fast code, this is what we get. If we're going through the good code, this is what we get. Yes, so that will also give them an idea of what will be at the end of the day. Also, it's important we document and share these technical depth impacts. It's important we share them. You might not be in the company for long. In case you
Mm,
leave, whoever is coming knows that, oh, we have this depth. These are things we still need to put up in place for our products. We also need to, like I said, set some non-negotiables. There are some
mm,
things that we can't sacrifice. It just
okay.
has to be in place. We have to also ensure that we have something called cleanup.
Mm,
So after we're done, after we're done with with regular sprints. We could have a sprint that is just focused on, okay, you guys have successfully launched using the fast way. Can we now have a sprint that is just dedicated for us to do the proper cleanup, right? So these are how I think that they can work around this if they're having a lot of pressure, right? So, and also important, if you don't, I've seen this happen in lots of tech teams. It's important to put a timeline to this thing. If you
Hmm.
don't put if you don't even do the timeline, you just see that the first code that you said you would come back and do a month after we've launched, 6 months later, we are
Yeah.
still there, right? So I think also to give a good a relatable example for front end engineers who work, like, I think just to give them something much more relatable regarding fast code and good code, the most simplest. Take for example, you are building a front end application with Tailwind CSS, which is something. In fact, I corrected a co-engineer recently regarding this. And with Tailwind CSS, right, we can write our stylings inside our classes.
Okay.
Now, Tailwind now introduced where you could infer a variable inside your class. So, for example, px px4 or px2 means that you are given the padding of left and right, a particular a padding value. Now, px5 or 6 is a Tailwind defined variable. Then Tailwind now said that you can actually infer your own variable. Maybe your padding is 30 pixels. So you can do px dash in brackets 30 pixels. So this has made a lot of developers lazy. That
Hmm.
they just infer their own, hard coding their own values into their classes. So at the end of the day, when there's now need for you to do a refactoring,
Hmm.
you
Issue.
know, you have to go manually change these things. Meanwhile, they could all have been in a single repository or a single file which is the tailwind.config file, where you have all the variables. So you only need to fix one variable and it affects others. So this is like the most elementary and relatable way, because this is majority of us work with Tailwind on a day-to-day basis, or on how fast code and good code is, and how what a technical depth is as well.
Wow, thank you so much. It's like today I already learned how to use the wind with all your explanation. And so thank you so
Yeah, you're
much.
welcome.
Yeah, so I want to ask now, some people like beginners right now, some use like there's different AIs, like AI tools and that. So I would like to ask like, are developers meant to depend on AI, like to write
Mm.
clean code? Or let me rephrase it, do AI tools write clean code or fast code?
Okay,
All right.
that's tricky. Okay, I never saw. Okay,
No,
I
so
think.
my bad, sorry. Sorry.
But anyways, we'll have to tackle it. So
Okay.
when it comes to AI generated codes, I see for me, I'm a big fan of using AI. I'm a big fan because I see them as great productivity tool
Mm,
on my, irrespective of the IDE I'm using, whether it's WebStorm, whether it's VS Code or Cursor or Windsurf, whichever you find yourself, having AI in collaborating with your text editor is actually a great tool for you to help you build fast, basically.
mm.
And one of the advantages, like I said, it helps you generate fast code. Fast code, not the fast code we're talking about, but it
All
helps you
right.
speed up things rapidly. Also, it's sometimes often is sometimes structured,
Mhm.
sometimes structured. But
Okay.
what determines a good code from an AI and the fast code is the engineer. That is why,
Mhm.
irrespective of how AI is, you yourself as an engineer, how solid are you? How It's important, irrespective of your stack, how solid are you in the foundational language? If you are a React guy, if you are a Vue guy, if you are a Node guy, how confident are you? How good are you with JavaScript itself?
Hmm.
Right? So if or when the AI generates a code, that don't forget that AIs, they are still learning, they are self-learning as well.
Yeah.
The more we also use, the more they're also getting better. So in fact, a friend of mine told me recently he was working using one of this. I don't want to call the product name, but it was using an AI to work on the product, and AI deleted the entire code base. of a particular component, right? So, and it also was no, it doesn't actually need that code that was done. That was the AI making that decision for him. So, and also that was one too. Engineer being having that skill would help you because when the AI generates a code that is not well optimized, you can say, oh, okay, yes, this is,
Mm,
and that is where I think engineers should appreciate what AI does. Yes, they're not perfect, but you can make it perfect because the more you tweak, the more you correct machine. That's why they call it machine learning. The more you tell it, oh no, I wanted this, but you gave me this. You've actually taught the AI, so it's in its upcoming models or upcoming results or from its prompts. If it should face something similar, it's going to produce a better result, right? So, but again, there are concerns as sweet as AI is. There are concerns, because sometimes they might not be able to generate specific niche solution for you, right? But I think that we're almost getting there. I'm already seeing some AI tools that could actually read your entire code base. Like they would read your entire code base. In fact, they would. Or that's we'll talk about that offline. so,
I'm very
so,
sure our listeners would like to hear that. If you can share with us, then
so,
would
so,
you like to share the tools? So,
so,
would
yeah.
you?
So there are how AIs could actually read your code base, and while this is good, again, security concerns. Some of these things, you ensure that there's some things like keys you don't want to expose them to, because if an AI could read your code base, it means that it could read your .env file, and your
Yeah,
env file
yeah,
is where we keep some of
yeah.
our secrets. So, security concerns are part of the reasons why we might not really want that to happen. Also, it might not be sometimes the result might not be tailored to to what you're working on. You now have to do like lots of prompting, and you might say we have tutorial hell, you might have prompt hell, because
Mm,
you're trying to get that, and that happens to people who lack a bit of technical skill. They keep on prompting you, like, "Ah, no, I've not gotten the best results yet." AI won't give you the best result. It only gives you enough result for you to at least get up and running, and with your own technical skill, you should be able to complete the rest. And one of the best practices for using AI, I think I would say that ensure that it meets your specific requirements. There are different courses online that teach you how to prompt AI. It's important to learn how to prompt. There are lots of courses online that teaches you how to prompt, not just build a component for me, or no. What is the component doing? What is it taking any props? What are the are we having types that need to be checked for these props? So these are the things you will need to ensure. So again, you can also treat AI as a draft that needs a refinement. Like I mentioned, they are also learning based on this prompt. So you're teaching it how it should best suit you. So these are how I think we can use AI. It's good whether for fast code or good code. It's good. You just need to also have that technical know-how to know or see when it's giving you a code that is not well optimized or you can't use basically.
okay, thank you so much. And so we all this now. You actually mentioned we are all developers actually learning how to become a good prompt engineer. When
Yeah.
you mentioned that like courses online there, like I'm very sure our listeners would like to know, oh yeah, from Mustapha today, the resources they can easily, because
Eh,
going to Google they might
yeah.
get overwhelmed. So like can you help us share some resources they can use to kickstart? Thank you.
Okay. I think there is one on for those who have a Code Cloud account. There's actually one on Code Cloud.
Oh,
If you subscribe to Code Cloud, KODEKLOUD. So it's a platform for those ones who are looking into going into the cloud space or DevOps space. It's like one of the best resources out there. If you want to be a DevOps engineer, a cloud engineer, Code Cloud is like one of the most, it's like top notch, right? And they have this course as part of their courses you could get, and you could also I think Udemy is also a great place. As long as you first thing I do when I go to a course on Udemy is before I even read the content, I go to the review first. So the
Oh,
review is where I know, okay, is this, and please leverage on almighty Reddit. Reddit is like the haven of, is this thing good or bad, right? So whether, in fact, even to companies you work with, so sometimes if you want to really know how good or bad your company is in the inside of customers, go to Reddit. You really see the
wow.
real the real feedback about your company or about your product, and that would also help you. That would also help you ensure that you put you guys in place or put you guys in check to ensure that you're doing the right thing, basically. So please know how to be a good prompt engineer. It's going to help you going forward.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. And guys, you hear from our guest today. So and you can even add to your CV that you're a prompt engineer because
Yeah, sure. These are roles. These are
yeah.
roles coming up right now in
So
the AI space.
you see, like our guest today, Mustapha, is already giving you guys tips of becoming senior developer. Whereby you quote your CV and when the company sees it, they'll be like, "What? Oh, I'm happy." Okay, so
Yeah.
thank you so much. Another question is, how do you unshake front end and products management together? Because that's like, yeah, I know they in one way or the other they like match, but then they are still different entity. So how do you do that?
Okay. Yeah, I think coming from a much more technical point of view, I think it's important that, as like I said, as you grow along the ladder, you become more product centric rather than
Mm,
technical. Over the
yeah.
years, you've been technical, right? So the good part is, as a front end engineer, it covers the technical parts, what we need to build, no problem. But from the product part, it lets you see things from a customer perspective. It lets you see things from a business angle, right?
Mm,
It lets you understand, okay, this code is needed for customers to pay us or pay for our products. When customer pay for our products, revenue comes in. When revenue comes in, the company is
mm,
operating, right?
yeah.
So that is how that's how I work as an engineer. Irrespective of where I work, I try to come up as first, see myself as a product person for that particular product we're working on. So that helps us bring a good synergy, and that also helps us in some decision making as a front end engineer or as designers, because you be like, okay, as a user, this feature I'm building, will it actually resonate? They then have to meet up with the designer. Hey, yeah, this is what you came up with in the design phase, but do you think it's? I think recently, at Papership we had something similar like that. We actually had a feature where maybe it was myself or my co-engineer that brought it up. Like, no, this doesn't. The users won't get this well. So we had to align with the designer. Like, we think you should tweak this. Coming from a user perspective, this might not flow. So this is because you also are also embodying that role of a product manager. You are also managing your own domain, and in that you are part of the process to ensure that you guys ship a very good product, and also ensure that it meets the standard for the users. So whether as a front end engineer or as a product manager, the goal has always remained the same: ensure that we ship the right products.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
our listeners today is looking as if you guys don't have. We've answered all your questions.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, they can always connect. They can always connect, whether
Yes.
it's on Twitter, on LinkedIn,
Okay.
Geek
Oh,
Maros, anywhere. It's Geek Maros. You find me,
okay.
and they can always reach out.
Okay. Okay. See? So that's open check to Mr. Mustapha. So you guys can reach out to him anytime. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to come to us also, then we can help out to connect. We are Tech with Hero and we have your best interest at heart. So right
Definitely.
now, like as for beginners that want to write, they want to learn how to become a good developer, a clean writer.
Yeah.
Let me put it in quotes. Like, what do you think is the advantage of having a community like Tech with
Yeah.
Hero?
Definitely. I'm never shy to say this. I learn from the community.
Hmm.
I'm never sure anywhere I go. So I'm a big fan of community. I'm a big fan. That is why I'm heavily involved in lots of tech events. I'm a big fan of community because I learned from the community. Part of my elementary knowledge, I can always say that it was because we had this event. This event gave me access to meet this person who in turn taught me this or gave me resources to learn this. So as a community, one of the beautiful things is that you would always find someone who knows it better than you.
Mm.
You always find someone who has a better resources than you. You would always find someone who we are all not the same, who is better than you basically, and you can always learn from them, right? So this is one. And another way they could get better is read identify the key players
Mm.
in what niche you're picking, and go check their open source projects, read their code bases. Like for me, sometimes I just go to I go to Anfu's, and Anfu is like one of the biggest open sourcers. He's a great engineer. He's part of the core members of the Vue team, and he's got a lot of other Vue products in the ecosystem. I just go there, and sometimes it could be a repository he shared from a workshop. I go there to read the code base. Like, I know if Anfu should write a code base, I'm certain like it's more than good code, it's excellent code, right? So so I learned from these sources. Go check out their GitHub repository, look at their projects, what they've done. Oh, why did they handle authentication this way? Why did they have to separate it in another file? This is how you get better, right? Which is also part of, I still like his community. It's open source, so it's also part of the community as well. Part of also, you should, now that you've seen this thing, you then have to replicate, especially for beginners. Build these things with the new best practices you've learned. Don't wait for you to land a job. No, no,
Mm.
no, 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 no. Don't wait till you land the job before you start applying it. Start applying in your personal project. That would give you excellence. Whatever you build in your personal project is what you implement by the time you are working on a company. So start with excellence. So when you eventually land your role as an engineer, you still maintain that consistency of excellence, basically.
All right, thank you so much. And
You're
guys, you
welcome.
guys already hear from Mustapha. If you are not part of a community, please
Please join one.
join
Join one.
once.
Join one.
And right now, Tech with Hero is here to support you. If you've
Yes.
not subscribed, don't forget to click the subscribe button. If you don't like her videos, if I catch you, it's better you just like it. And it's so really really nice to talk or chat, let me say, not even talk, like we actually like chatted today. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's so
yeah.
nice to have you on today's show,
My pleasure. My
Mustapha.
pleasure. My pleasure.
So yeah, and to be frank, we've spent a lot of time. You just feel like we should continue, but then I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
release our senior. I have to like base it like, but if I continue with the senior, we won't leave it.
No,
So, uh,
let's keep it at one senior.
so yeah, what would you like to tell our viewers today? What would you like to tell the young lads, the young people that are just coming into the tech community that want to become, that are looking up onto you as a mentor, or that they are ready to become a mentee under you? What advice would you like to give them? Thank you.
First and foremost, be a self starter. It's important. It's important to be a self starter. Along the line, you'd find yourself solving problems yourself. So you have to be a good problem solver, right? Next is be a part of a community. I honestly am a big fan of that. Be a part of a community. It's going to help you so much. Then, take on challenges. Believe me, take on challenges. No challenge is too small. Take on challenges. These challenges will actually make you a better engineer, honestly. And also, network better. Network is very important. There will be times whereby you probably need a role. You feel like, okay, I think I've gone past the learning phase. I then need to put this learning phase into a work experience. Your network is how they will actually help you. The market is a bit saturated right now, so having a good network would help you land roles either through referrals. Then put yourself out there. Fortunately, not unfortunately, because it's a good thing.
No problem.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
fortunately, we're in the era of social media. Whatever
Mm.
you're doing, put it out there. Whatever you are, if whatever you're comfortable doing. I don't like writing. I only write because I'm paid to do it. So I have to
Oh,
do it.
oh,
So I'm more of a
nice.
talker. So you'll find me doing more of a video content. I'm just trying to make an example. So if you find me doing more of a video content than the writing content. So if you
Wow.
are if speaking is your strength, do more video content to just showcase what you do. If you are more of write technical stuff that put you out there. I have lots of friends who, because they became writers, they were engineers. They now added writing as a sub skill to
Hmm.
what they did, and it's skyrocketed their career. So put yourself out there, irrespective of what you're building. And I'm a spiritual person. Pray as the effort you put in trying to get better, put that same effort in trying to pray that the Lord helps you and puts come through for you.
Okay, that is really, really nice. Thank you. As you hear, please don't forget to pray. So, prayer, everything, then put in the hard work, like our
Yeah,
guest today has said.
yeah,
So, with hard work, you're going to see the results. And no
yeah,
matter what, don't get discouraged. There's
yeah,
always lights at the end of the tunnel, they say.
yeah, yeah.
So thank you so much today,
You're most welcome.
Mustapha. Like, I
Most
really,
welcome.
really want us to continue, but then
It's also time for prayers here too. So,
yeah, but
yeah,
then we have to take a big full stop, and we'll be closing the event. So let me say, show our chit chats, our talk, and everything we can actually call it like here.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if you guys want to ask more questions, you have a lot of things you want to ask, not just about good code or clean code. You have things you want to ask Mustapha. You have things you want to reach out on, like personal. You want him to become your mentor, and that he has already given you open space. Please don't hesitate to look for him. And yeah, another way you can get him is come to us. We will get him
yes.
for you.
I think I
So
prefer that. I prefer that one. They should come through you. So it's
okay.
better that way.
So message us, and
Yes.
we are your how will I say it? Well, not servant in quotes, but then you can use us. We
The
are here for
middleman.
you. Yeah. So
You're
thank
the
you so
middleware.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Most
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you. Pleasure is
Yeah,
all
thank
mine.
you for co-hosting with me today. Because
Sure.
yeah, this is really fun, and
Yeah.
it's so nice having you here.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you. All
Yeah.
right. Enjoy the rest of the
Bye.
weekend.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Okay, guys. You know, it's so nice having our guest, which is Mustapha. And did you miss today? Show or event talk, please. You can always watch it back. And we are Tech with Hero, and here I am. I am your beautiful host. Yeah, I remain beautiful. Adejoke Ogundipe, and today we'll be handling the event, basically the show with. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Don't forget to like, don't forget to follow us. And this is again Tech with Hero. Thank you. Bye.